welcome back to Effective Living. I'm your host, Coach Ricardo Miller, and I'm joined tonight with Anastacia Smith. We're in two different locations. Anastacia is in the beautiful islands of the Bahamas, and I am here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Now, what most of you must know by now, I'm originally from the Bahamas, so I got that accent like Anastacia, and I'm loving it. What's going on, Stacia? How's it going?
It's going great. The weather here is so nice. I encourage everyone to take at least one visit here. When you come and visit, tell Coach Ricardo that you're coming. I'm sure
Yeah.
he's going to hook you up with some people to make sure that your experience is great.
Yep. Listen, I am doing something. I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag right now. I am planning a 2023 cruise. Yeah, 2023 cruise to the Bahamas. Oh my goodness. And so Effective Living is we're going to take over a ship, y'all. We're going to take over a ship, and listen. We're coming out of Galveston. We're coming out of Texas, and we're going to go around to the Caribbean. And we're going to stop in Nassau. We're going to stop in Freeport. We're going to stop in Cocoa Key. Oh my goodness. And so, Anastacia, I'm excited about 2023. More information, people, is coming about cruising with Coach Ricardo and friends in 2023. And we're coming out of Texas, but we're going around to the Bahamas. That's going to be amazing. Now, you know, Stacia, when we land in Nassau, when we land in Freeport, my plans are to have the island on lock while the ship is on the ground, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. We wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, so I'm praying that even now that God is going to allow us to have not only a great group of people planning to go on this cruise, but the weather is going to be, just perfect. And so I love the Bahamas. So tell me something. You just became the new president, new elected president of your Toastmasters Club. Before we dive into our message today, here on Effective Living Talk, for wherever you guys are in the world watching us. Anastacia, tell us a little bit about what's going on with Toastmasters and now you being the president. And maybe even at the end of the show, you can encourage those who are local to join your club or consider visiting.
Well, with my club, which is Dynamic Persuaders,
Yeah.
1200778, the numbers have to follow.
Yeah.
We are looking into doing hybrid meetings.
Uh-huh.
For the past few years, Toastmasters has been doing strictly virtual, but we're finally getting a little bit of leeway now to be able to meet in person or meet virtually completely, if it is that's the club choice, or we can do the hybrid thing. And so, we're trying to be careful. We're still being a bit cautious and everything like that. So we're going to try the hybrid thing just so that we can continue to be a small group. But we're looking forward to seeing each other and meeting up and being able to continue the family atmosphere that my club usually has.
Now, I mean, 2020 just disrupted it all for everybody. And I can bet even in the Toastmasters organization, some clubs probably bellied up during the pandemic, probably never came back because they just didn't know how to adapt. How important is adapting? You're in education, and not only are you in education, you're in a number of other areas that had to adapt. How important is adapting? Let's talk about that for a few minutes.
It is very important. Uh, as far as education goes,
Yeah,
my school had to do completely virtual for quite a few months.
yeah,
And trying to do the virtual thing for preschoolers was it was such a difficult task. We literally had to take something that did not exist, that had not been done before completely, and in a matter of days, figure out how we were going to work through being able to present the information in a way that the kids would still be receptive to it. They're not primary or high school kids, and so they needed that continuous supervision, which was difficult for a lot of parents to wrap around and arrange properly. And then, of course, when kids are in their own home environment, they act a complete fool because that's different. When I'm home, I'm not used to having that structure and having to sit still and having to complete assignments and things like that. That's a school mentality. So trying to fuse the two together was really hard. And of course, working the platform because we used Google Classroom and Zoom both together. So even doing training with our teachers to get them to be able to work through the platforms and be able to troubleshoot a few things. It was really difficult. We are extremely grateful to be here and to see some normalcy coming back together because we're now having our government schools are open now. So, we're getting back to normal and we're slowly getting back into a completely pre-COVID routine.
Yeah, Okay, Anastacia, last time you and I spoke, I talked about continual education and the important for somebody to just commit to learning, commit to not throwing in the towel. There are some people after they say they hit a certain age, they say, well, at this age, I can't do that no more. Male, female, I meet a lot of people who are even here in the United States who would have often said, hey, I'm 65 now, my learning days are over. And then some people actually has gone as far as to say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I beg to differ. I don't believe that you can't teach an old dog new trick. As much as we have engrilled that in our head that let's just say 65, we should check out. The truth is, Colonel Sanders became a real hit at 65. And when we look here in the United States, the president is more than 70. I mean, and was running for presidency. This is he is not an anomaly. There's a lot of people who are doing a lot of amazing things, 70 and 80 plus. What is your thought about continual education and not letting age define your willingness to continue to evolve and become?
Well, with us continuing education, I believe that a lot of people think that when you're saying continue education, we're thinking just the formal structure. We're thinking about going back to class. We're thinking about enrolling in university and things like that. That's not the only form of education that you can subscribe to. Even this platform here, this is a form of gaining education, gaining knowledge, and I know that, there may not be a lot of older persons that are the most tech savvy in the world. But guess what? You have a kid, you have a grandkid, you have a great grandkid. They all know how to work YouTube and how to do little things and search stuff up. And, it's just a little bit of time and practice that's going to get you there. So with us continuing education, it should be always. Absolutely always. Until we are dead, that is the only end to anything that we're doing. Death is the only end to anything. As long as we are alive, we have an opportunity. We should have the willingness to learn about something, to learn a new skill. I saw that there was a young man who learned about crocheting.
Okay.
And I found first of all, boys don't typically do that.
Yeah.
And then secondly, he was a young man. He was about 12, 13 or something like that when they interviewed him. And he had been doing it for years at that point. He was at the point of making like little outfits and things like that.
Okay.
So when we think about how young persons are able to pick up skills and learn things, we need to remember that also works in the flip. As we get older, there are still things that we can learn to do and things like that.
Today we're talking about being an ambassador, and I've coined this statement: I am an effective living ambassador. In other words, I live the message of faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. Yep, that's the new thing right now. I am an effective living ambassador. And who is an effective living ambassador? It is a person who is committed to living faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. Well, when we talk about that young boy who has learned something that a lot of people say, well, I can never do that. And then there are some people who he's young, some people who are old who said, I can never do that. Let's talk about that whole mindset. The mindset to believe that you can be an ambassador for young people as a young person, or to be an ambassador for old people as an old person. I mean, the truth is somebody's going to exceed expectation. And no matter how old you are, you could be the game changer as a young person. You could be a game changer as an old person. What's your view on that?
I absolutely agree with you. When we think about the experiences that an older person can gain and the amount of knowledge just through experiences, not formal education, not degrees and degrees and degrees hotter, not any of that. Just through life experiences, the lessons that you've learned, the paths that you've walked, the things that you've done, that right there can be passed on to everyone else around you. I think that one of the worst things that we can do is to die with knowledge. There should at least be one person around you, three persons around you, someone in your atmosphere that is able to do to a reasonable degree
Yeah.
what it is you're able to do. And that's in the workplace. If you've gotten to a position of being a supervisor, an administrator, management, something of that nature, you should still have an understudy. You should still have someone that's working along with you who knows how to be able to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
That if you're in the house, you're going to teach your kids how to make that apple pie the way that you did it because you want them to be able to do it when you're gone. You don't want that because the world is void of you. They're also void of everything that came along with you. And when we allow younger persons to have a voice and to experience things and to go through trial and error safely, it gives them an opportunity to also be able to teach the people around them because they've been able and allowed to experience some things and to work through some stuff. And it seems that, younger persons, they're able to work through things a bit quicker. But I watched an episode of Brain Games when they had a competition of older people versus younger people. And they had this contest of trying to figure out, they had a wall in between and they was trying to figure out which light bulbs were on. And they were just playing with the switches or whatever, but they couldn't see which one they were activating. So the younger persons, they couldn't figure it out for anything. Not for anything at all. They just took absolutely forever with it, couldn't get it done. The older persons, they turned on one light bulb, went around the wall and felt to see which one was still hot. And then that's, come on, we're not going to think of that. Wisdom, experience, life teaches you some things that, youth is not going to have.
Yeah.
And so you got to make sure that when you leave this world, you're not leaving it void of the knowledge that you have. You got to make sure and pass these things along.
Anastacia, let's talk about this. I've been doing a teaching that I kicked off this morning dealing with insecurities. And a lot of young people and old people have insecurities. Maybe you didn't get a degree when you were in school. Maybe you didn't do so well and you feel as though, time has evolved so much. Or you're young and you say, well, I met a young man maybe 5-6 years ago. And he said, man, when I'm in my 30s, people will start listening to me. And he, for some reason, he didn't believe that people listened to those at his age, which was in his 20s, early 20s. And the truth is, there are a lot of influential individuals. As a matter of fact, we have a government official here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area who ran for city council and one of the youngest city council members. And in the Bahamas, we've had a number of member of parliaments, I believe, that were in their 20s of late. And so the whole concept that I should wait until I'm 30 to be listened to, or I'm 50, I'm 60, I'm 70, and I don't feel like I'm qualified. That whole concept of inadequacy. Let's talk about that for a moment, because I struggled with that for the longest. For the longest, I felt as though I couldn't talk to certain rooms. I couldn't talk to certain people. There was a lot of questioning as am I qualified? Am I capable? Or should I even try? Who am I to try? Those type of internal talks that we have in our heads that oftentimes keep us back from ever giving ourselves a chance. What's your view on that?
Well, you said something important as you spoke just now, because the young man that's thinking that he shouldn't or won't be listened to until he's in his 30s. There are so many avenues
Yeah,
of being heard now.
yeah,
It is a older mindset
yeah,
that, because you're young, you sit down in the corner and you wait your turn until it is somebody asks you a question and then you speak. No,
yeah,
there are many, many avenues of being heard and being seen. And there's always someone listening. There's always someone paying attention. And then the other side of that is the older person who feels that because I am older, you should listen to me. Even if they have not gained the knowledge, they have
yeah,
not put the time and the work in and whatever else, just because I am older than you, you should respect me. That is also a bit archaic, because you are an older person, but I may have read more books on the topic than you have.
yeah,
I may have um, updated my education,
yeah.
because as machinery changes, technology changes, the world turns. There are newer ways, faster ways of doing things. And so while you are master at the way that you learned it, I may have learned it in the new way.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't mean that because you're older than me that you shouldn't listen to me, you know?
Hmm.
And
Let's talk about the person's negative self-talk about their inadequacies. They're like, I can't talk like her. I can't talk like him. You know what I'm saying? What will people think of me? And how should I feel? And the self-talk that actually brings us down from being the ambassador. When we think about the whole term, and I really want to talk about the self-talk to stand up, to be an ambassador, to be a representative, to be a spokesperson, to be a leader. When we think about that, I think about myself. I think about so many people I've met over the years who struggle for giving themselves a chance because their internal talk was so damaging, so negative, so limiting. It wasn't that they didn't have the potential to. It didn't that they didn't have the acquired skill. It was that they did not have the self-belief. Oh my goodness. They didn't have the self-belief. And even if you didn't have the skill, you didn't have the belief that you could get the skill. And that
right.
your self-talk you out of even trying. Oh my goodness. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever experienced it? Do you feel as though it's prevalent in our society today? There are a lot of people who say, Miller, you're talking about ambassador. The government of the Bahamas may never make me an official ambassador. I don't think I'll be an ambassador here in the Bahamas, but I can be a self-proclaimed ambassador. I'm an
Yeah.
ambassador for effective living. Someone, who do he think he is? Now he's letting himself that stuff is getting to his head. See, the person who is saying, who do we think he is doubting he could be. But now that I'm choosing to claim it on me, you're wanting to hate on me. Let's talk about that whole self-talk that is hindering us from being the greater light that we can literally be in this world, among family, among friends, on the job, in the career. I mean, there's just so many ways we can shine our light. But if we're talking ourselves out of being who we could be, chances are we'll never be it.
That is so correct. And the thing is that I believe maybe it's my background in education that has um, gotten me to see it so much more. But negative self-talk usually comes from that external negativity.
Mm,
After you've heard from the outside, people of influence in your life, people that have authority over you at a younger age, or, the people that you're watching as your example at a younger age, when you're listening to them speak negativity towards you, or they're speaking negativity toward your mom,
Yeah.
They may not even be speaking negatively to you. Your Grammy may not be talking to you. When they're talking to you, they're saying, "Oh, you're such a sweetie. Oh, you're such a smart girl." But when they're talking to your mom, who is the person that you're idolizing and you're planning on growing up to be like, and they're telling them, "Oh, why are you trying to do that? You know you can't do that. Oh, you know that this and you know that. And you ain't smart enough to do this. You're not pretty enough to do that." All of those type of things. It becomes internalized, and it becomes your inner voice. And that's where a lot of the negative self-talk comes from those external factors, those influential people that are around you in your atmosphere who are saying to you or to someone that you idolize, you know, this cannot happen, that shouldn't happen, why are you doing this? And creating these bunch of questions in your head as to, you know what, if they can't do it, what makes me think that I can do it? You know?
You know, for a long time, man, listen, I was trying to figure out how do you get rid of stinking thinking? I mean, for the longest time, I said, how do you get rid of? And I realized most people won't ever be an ambassador. And I'm talking about an ambassador for your home, an ambassador for your class, an ambassador for your generation, an ambassador for your nation, an ambassador for your job. You know what I'm saying? An ambassador for your church. Basically, I was thinking about our blog that tonight's talk represented. It talks about the fact that, you know, I wrote this down. An American ambassador is the highest ranking representative to a specific nation or an international organization abroad. This person represents the president at the highest level outside of the country or within an organization. And so even so, a church may send a leader off to a conference. You're an ambassador for the church. So how you act and deliver and present yourself. Please note, you know, I'm the ambassador I'm the official representative. That's really what it is. I'm the official representative of this church. I'm the official representative of this family. Somebody said, who represents the Miller family? I'm the official representative of the Miller family. I'm the official representative of First Step Academy. I'm the official representative of the Bahamas. They say, is there anybody here from the Bahamas? And you say, well, at this present moment, I am the official representative of the Bahamas. Well, I'm of the belief that you can be the official representative of a life well lived. I think you can be an official representative to say, hey, I have learned, watch this, y'all. I have learned how to play the cards well that I've been dealt. Hello. You know, no countries were created equal. All countries have their differences. There's something that makes them unique. They're not equal. They're all different, right? And so just as us as individuals, all of us weren't dealt the same hands. We all weren't dealt the same hands. And so I believe that when you become an ambassador, if you're an ambassador of Haiti, Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, St. Kitts, Cuba, Mexico, wherever it is, you know, you say, hey, we may be a country where our dollar may not value that much, but that don't mean we won't send our best our best to represent us forward. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to talk about that because I found it to be so challenging to get to the point where you could say, I'm an ambassador. I'm the representative for my family. I'm the representative for my school. I'm the representative for my neighborhood. Yeah. You know, I'm the representative for my block. You go to a politician's meeting and they say, who's here to represent this particular street? You say, I'm the representative. And here's the deal. Developing your life in a way where anybody around you will be okay with you being the representative. Hello. You like that? You know, there's somebody said, we're okay with her representing us. We're okay with him representing us. I think when we think about an effective living ambassador, it's a person who have chosen to live at a level that actually makes for a good representative. What do you think about that, and us starting to sell a message like that? Like each person aiming to become an ambassador on their own right.
I think that what you said in the ending of that particularly is so very important. Not only being a representative, but being a good representative.
Yeah, yeah.
Being a positive representation of where you're coming from. Because we can send anybody and say that they're from the Miller family.
Right.
But what impression are they going to leave behind when they've represented us? That is what is important. That's very important. And so when it is you're thinking and believing that, you know what, I can be an ambassador for effective living, then you're first going to have to know what effective living is.
Yes. Yeah.
You're going to have to know what it is that you're trying to represent, what it is that you're standing for, and be sure that this is something that you want to represent. Because nobody is going to make you. This has to be something that you want within yourself. And after you've decided that you want it and you know why it is that you want it, then you're going to try and figure out, okay, how do I do this? And not just do it, but do it well.
Yes.
I don't want to just do it. Yeah, I want, I rep effective living, man. I wear the t-shirt. You don't see me, I always in the shirt. Yeah, you always in the shirt, but what are you doing while you're in the shirt? Yeah. That's a part of what uniforms do for us. Yeah. When one of our students are walking down the street, they are a representation of us. Yeah. Yeah. So when their auntie or somebody in the grocery store stops them and says, "Hi, how are you?" and they're able to answer in an intelligent way, "I am fine, thank you. How are you?" Yeah. That's a representation of us, but not just a representation, but a good representation. So after you figured out, okay, and decided this is what I want to do, and you figured out your steps on how I'm going to do it, then it's being committed to that process. Ooh. Because you already decide, okay, yeah, I can do this. I'm gonna do it. I can make it through. We can do this. And you figured out why and how you can be able to do it. Because, like I said, this is still a form of knowledge. This platform in itself is still a form of knowledge. This is a form of education. And so you've decided within yourself that, you know what? My family has a history of alcoholism. My family has a history of minimum wage jobs. My family has a history of whatever it is that is not positive. And you've decided that you want to be that representative to say that, you know what? Out of this family came me. Yeah. Yeah. I came out of this situation, this circumstance, out of this area. I lived in Baytown. I lived in India, in the slums. Wherever. Yeah. I lived in this area. This was my life. This is my life. But I can still be a positive representation of what can come from there. Yeah. You have to be active. You can't be effective without being active.
Ooh, come on. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined with Anastacia Smith. This is our Effective Living Monday Night Conversation. And we're talking about being an effective living ambassador. We're going to come back in a few minutes and we're going to talk about what do you have to do to be a good one, to be a great one, to just go above and beyond. Check this out. This was our last Effective Living event. And you better go to our website, keep up to date on what we got going on as a platform, as an organization. We're committed to serving. So check this out and we'll be right back continuing our talk on how to be an effective living ambassador. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Effective Living. Anastacia, you talked about being a good ambassador. Now, when I think about a good ambassador for this platform, we're talking somebody who's committed to faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. I was talking to someone yesterday, Anastacia, and I said to them, most people lean on one thing, and we weren't taught. We weren't taught to take care of it all. And the reason why I think it's important for us to make a commitment for those who would commit to saying, I am an effective living ambassador. The goal is to say, you know what? I'm committed to living faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. I want it all so the next generation can see the model on how it's supposed to look.
Yeah.
For too long, Anastacia, there are some people who just got one of them, maybe two of them, right?
Yeah.
And they lean on bragging and boasting and showing themselves in the one or the two that they were able to acquire. But they end up sitting on the porch of regret, having a very defeated demeanor because they chose not to. And I call it chose not to. And I think for us with effective living, we're selling the message. Don't ignore any of the five.
Right.
Don't ignore it. How important is that? How important is it to not ignore any of the five? Faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. When we're talking about being an ambassador, and if you talk about a national ambassador, someone representing a country, I mean, think about it. You're representing a country in another country, and then you lose your family. How sad is that? Or, you could imagine just deciding to, you have all of the money, but you have no family, no friends. You have no circle, no community. Or you have community, but you have no help. You pay very little attention to fitness along the way. And so your health is decaying at a very fast rate. And you have money, and you pride yourself on that. Let's just put four of these away, and let's talk about those in the Bahamas who pride themselves on being religious people. They have faith. How are you doing, Anastacia? Blessed and highly favored of God. But here's the deal. Nothing's working out for you in the other four. But we talk very strongly as to, God is amazing, and I'm blessed and highly favored. Yeah, I still believe you're blessed and highly favored if life is challenging you in all four. But you should still be doing the work on your part and then believing God if necessary for divine involvement to bring the other part. Because here's something, Anastacia, before I let you pop in here with this. I was talking to a guy yesterday, and I says, family is not sibling only, Family is the community you choose to build. And I love what you said about your Toastmasters Club. You said, we are coming back together because we're family. And you said, and when we get together, it's just amazing as to how well we do together. And that's what family is about. Family do well together. And it doesn't always mean somebody that is your blood, And so faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun, having it all, and having that as your message to the next generation, having that as a message to those who may be older. What's your view on that?
I believe that it's extremely important. And when you think of it, and you're thinking of it in those five parts, you're not only thinking of it as, as you described it, whereas I'm great in these two, and the other three are just falling completely apart. We have to think of it as like a pie.
Yeah.
You got to think of it as a pie. You would love that if you are dishing this out and this is the representation of you, and all of the people around you are being able to see you as a pie. You would like for all of it to be even.
Right.
As you walk through and distribute yourself, you're going to want it to try and be even, but that's not realistic. No part of the pie has to be, let's say, shortchanging anybody, though. Because while if you're looking at it, if 50% of your pie is going towards finances, The other 4 slices of pie are pretty small.
Right. Come on. Right.
They are pretty
Yeah.
small. That's not able to sustain anybody.
Wow. Wow.
If you're looking at your pie is cut in 5, and fitness and fun
Yeah.
are the half that's there. Those 2 are a half on its own. The other 3, they're still not proportionate enough for someone to survive on, for you to be able to survive on. You've got to make sure that it doesn't have to all be equal, but
Right.
each slice of the pie is still large enough for you to be able to function and for you to survive off of it and for it to be able to sustain you. If you're having a whole lot of fun,
Yeah.
a whole lot of fun,
To the expense of
your finances, absolutely, your finances are suffering because it costs you to have fun. Fun isn't free.
yeah. Come on.
And so if it is that you're having just a whole lot of fun, that means your finances slice of that pie is very, very small. Your fitness slice of that pie may be very small also because you're taking such a toll on your body. You are, whether your fun is with or without the consumption of alcohol, whether your fun is late night or early morning, whatever form of fun it is, if it is in such a large proportion, your fitness, your health is probably suffering somewhere along there. And your finances are definitely suffering along there.
Wow.
Absolutely suffering. And so we need to try to apply it in that way. Try to apply it more realistically to know that, yeah, you're supposed to have fun. Nobody's telling you not to. You're supposed to have faith. We must know that we are created with purpose. We must know that there is an almighty God that is waking us up every morning and seeing us through safely each night. We must know that. Family is not everything, but it's a lot of things. And like you said, it's not just persons that are your blood, but it is the persons that are close enough to you and connected enough to you, and they're deep enough in your atmosphere that, you know, it's just like y'all were born together. Y'all might have shared a room or something like that, you know. It's that degree of closeness. So I believe that if you apply it in a realistic way, because, you know, there are different types of learners. If it's somebody that needs that visual, then sit with yourself and look at the visual, look at it visually. If you have to do a bar graph, if you have to do it in percentages or whatever else, out of 100%, if it's equal, then all of them are having 20%. Sit with yourself and think, okay, in your day, how much of my time is spent on faith? And you can give that a percentage. How much of your time is spent with family? You can give that a percentage. How much is devoted to my finances? How much is devoted to fitness? How much is devoted to fun? You can give that a percentage. And then when you've looked at your 24 hours and you see what percentages have come out of that based on those 5 factors, are you okay with it?
Wow. You know, Anastacia, it's so amazing that a lot of people, they're not okay with it, but they're not sitting down to look at that pie and say, hold on the, you know, just when I look at my week, my 168 hours of the week, fun is taking too much of the pie. Or my so-called claim on faith may be taking too much of the pie. You know, I'm too heavenly, I'm so heavenly bound, I'm no earthly good. And so, you know, you're losing your job because you don't know how to turn faith down on the job and do the man's job. Hey, you know, you don't even know how to have relationship with your children because you're all Honda preload, shema mama mama and everything. You know, you don't even know how to love your kids and just really coexist with your family. That your family now has backed themselves off from you because you're so heavily bound that you're not earthly good to family. And then, you know, I mean, you owe everybody. but you're not supposed to be the lender. I mean, you're not supposed to be the borrower, but you owe everybody. And it's because your money is funny.
Yeah.
Your money is funny. And just so I'm of the belief an ambassador for effective living is saying, hey, I have joined the movement to pay attention to all five. And here's the deal. Here's the deal. This is not for others to judge you. This is for you to judge you. See, because only you know your pie. Someone says, well, I don't even know my pie. Then if you don't know your pie, the goal isn't for anybody to judge your pie. The goal is for you to do the work on assessing your own pie and ask yourself, how have I cut my pie? How am I slicing my pie in relation to the life? An effective living lifestyle is a lifestyle that is created. Okay? An effective living lifestyle. I believe that this movement is going to take off because there are too many people, Anastacia. They're living with one or two as their priority, and it's not working for them. Because here's the deal, when old age gets you and you're no longer to engage, and now you're like, well, I got all the money, but I didn't build fun into my life, right? Or I have the money and I know how to have fun, but I never took time to develop relationships. So no one really want to have fun with me, so I'm a loner. And then there are others who just, they never took the time to walk the beach. They never took the time to exercise. They never took the time to drink water. They never took the time to go and get that annual checkup and the physical. And I teach that your body is the vehicle God is going to use to fulfill your assignment. So if you're going to have an amazing life, you got to maintain the vehicle.
Yeah.
That life is supposed to be worked through. Just thinking, hey, and here's the deal. Self-sabotaging talk oftentimes make us believe we cannot have it all. Self-sabotaging talk to the point where we have stuff like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Well, who cake it is? Who cake it is? If I can't have my cake and eat it too, right? Or you ever heard the statement, you can't have it all? Where did that come from? I think the Bible says, according to your faith, be it done unto you. So while you're alive, if we can get a man on the moon, okay, we can have people in space. We're developing space tourism. These boys, Anastacia, they're building islands now. They're not trying to discover islands. They're literally building islands, okay? They got restaurants in the sky. They got hotels under the sea. Okay, if they can do that, why in the world are you going to tell me I cannot have a pie that is nicely cut? That when I look at my pie, Anastacia, come on, somebody ought to shout, he's about to preach. When I look at my pie, I want to look at it and I want to be able to say, you know what, Ricardo, at this age, Anastacia, as a matter of fact, while everyone is watching, I'm skydiving on Saturday. I'm jumping out of a plane. Okay, because I'm skydiving. So now here's the deal. In my book, in the back of the book, see it written there, and I had so many things on this checked off that I'm preparing to write a new set of bucket lists. Okay, but on my bucket list, I don't like snakes, Anastacia. But I figured I'm gonna have a lot of fun in life, and I don't want my fears to paralyze me from living life to the fullest. So what I did was I made a list of the top 10 things I fear or hate the most. Yeah. And I asked myself an honest question when it comes to why. Where did the fear come from? And why is it so paralyzing? And guess what? As you know, coming from the Bahamas, I don't know there's any behavior that I personally know. I know there's some out there, but I don't know any that I know who would say they love snakes. Right? I don't know any that would say they love height. We don't even have no real mountains. Okay. We got hills, okay? And so growing up in the Bahamas, we're accustomed to flat land. We're accustomed to no poisonous snakes, right? And still are afraid of snakes. And so I'm like, where did the fear come from for height? Where did the fear come from? And then I'm doing parasailing. I was swimming with the dolphin when I was in the Bahamas the last time. Yeah. I was there all my life. I had never done the swim with the dolphin. I was like a child in the candy store when the dolphins started splashing up around me. because fun makes the journey more pleasurable. Living life without fun is to live life only sitting on the porch of regret, knowing that life has a model within it. Even in parenting, you know it. When you see kids and they're making the sandcastle and they throw in the water at the parents in the pool or whatever, and you're running and all that stuff and you're playing ball, those are some of the most memorable moments. But most people aren't trying to find creative ways to have fun. Even domino playing or playing cards or Connect Four. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just playing. So anyhow, I made a list, Anastacia, of a new list of bucket lists going into my birthday is here, and I say in the next 3 years, between now and 50, here are 10 things I would like to do. Here are 10 things I would like to find myself being more like. And my goal is to be better with age, but to manage my pie better. I want to manage my pie. I want to manage my pie in faith, in family, in finance, in fitness, in fun. I was in the Bahamas at a restaurant and I was on the floor dancing. And the fella says, "Hey, but you're a pastor. Why are you dancing?" I say, "That's my wife I'm dancing with." Hello. Leave me alone. Hello, leave me alone. See, the problem is, here's the deal. We teach in the ministry, we don't like divorce, but we're not showing fun either. That will keep us from having divorces. We're not teaching how to enjoy your marriage, but then when divorce, oh my goodness, God don't like divorce. Well, God ain't want nobody to find themselves living in a depressed, frustrated state to where they're just psychologically thrown off because you put them in religion and not in a healthy position. And a healthy position is having a pie that is nicely cut, that God can look down and be glorified. I like how he's managing his life. You know what I'm saying? Because really, that's what it's all about, Anastacia. This whole pie cutting thing is about management. Do you agree? What's your thought about the whole management of the five: faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun? And a lot of people, well, I don't know how I'm doing. Then how are you don't know how you're managing your life? What's your view on the management of this whole five?
Well, a lot of times I believe that the persons who do not know themselves how they're doing with their five,
Yeah.
they don't have enough people around them that will tell them the truth.
Wow.
Because I have a best friend that calls on me when she knows she's not going to get lied to. She knows I'm not going to fluff her. And even if it's a marital question, I am not going to pick her side or pick her husband's side or anything like that. I am going to try and listen to it as objectively as possible and give you an honest answer. So if it is that you cannot come to that conclusion yourself as to what your percentages are or how your pie is being cut currently, and you're saying, "Oh, well, I don't know how I'm going to figure that out." You don't know how you're figuring that out because you don't have an accountability partner in your life. You don't have somebody that's around you who is going to be honest with you, and you can go to them and say, "Hey, what do you think are the top 3 things that I've been focused on?" And whatever they're able to tell you are your top 3, it means the other 2 are probably suffering.
Wow.
Because they've seen you in action. You know, being on the outside looking in, it takes away that emotional response to things. It takes away the life experience or the decision-making process that got you to do what you did. They're just seeing what you did and the result of it.
Yeah.
And so having that person on the outside that's able to say, "You know what? On any given day, if I'm trying to reach you, you can't talk to me because you're sleeping because you was partying the night before." You know, if on any given day, if I know that I am in a scrape and I need somebody to give me $50, lend me $50, you're not the person to call because you're always broke. Allow someone to be able to speak to you, and you also be open to what it is that they have to say. If you're going to that person, then that must be someone that you trust. It must be someone that you know is honest with you. It's someone that's not just going to give you an answer off the top of their head. They're really going to try to tell you something that's going to be helpful to you. And so you got to know that person, identify that person, and then also be willing to accept what it is that they're saying. Be open to what it is that they're saying. If you are looking at your 24 hours and you still cannot get your percentage out of that, it means that you're not being honest with yourself. If you know that there's something going on in your life, you know that there are areas that need to be improved, but you still cannot look within yourself to say, okay, these are the areas that I need help with. You're not being honest with yourself. Go to that third party, go to that accountability partner. Let them help you to work it out. Let them help you to figure out which slices aren't able to feed a starving child in Africa because they're just too small and they're almost non-existent. They will be able to tell you.
Wow. Anastacia, you just hit the nail on the head. This whole element of knowing that someone is watching you who's capable of helping you has been a message that I've been trying to present to people. And I'm of the belief someone is assigned to help you. But I think, as you mentioned, some people won't open themselves up and say, okay, well, I don't trust anybody to talk to me. Then you're feeling when it comes to family/friends, that whole element right there, you're feeling because you should at this stage of your life have some trusted people. When you call people who you, as Anastacia just mentioned, who you consider to be close to you. Call 3 or 4 of your friends. And you say, when it comes to faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun, which one of those you think I'm not doing that well with and why? And don't take offense. And then here's the deal. There's always an excuse for everything that we're not doing that can soothe our minds to believe it's a justifiable statement. You just have to choose not to make an excuse, because let me tell you something. There's always room for excuse. There's always an excuse. And here's the deal. Someone will believe your excuse. But what you got to do is you have to decide you're going to live your life above excuses. Anastacia, we got about 3 more minutes. I want you to challenge. I want you to challenge our viewers. 1, to make themselves an ambassador, deputize themselves, to say, I'm going to be an ambassador. I'm going to be the representative in my family for this message of 5. Or I'm going to be the message ambassador for my job. I want, when I walk and show up on my job, people say, she really represents that message of 5 well. She represents effective living well. Somebody say, is effective living Ricardo Miller? Effective living is Ricardo Miller. Effective living is Anastacia Smith. Effective living is Carol Crockett. Effective living is you. Effective living is her. Effective living is him. Effective living is all of us who are committed to living the 5. Faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. Challenge our viewers as we get ready to close this out.
Well, I would go back to an earlier part of the conversation and remind everyone that age is not a factor. Age is not a factor. Whether you are an older person, whether you are a younger person, whether you are somewhere in between, age is not the factor. You are not too old. You are not too young. You are not too anything to make that decision and start today. It only takes for you to start. That's all it is. It only takes for you to go ahead and first decide that this is what you want to do and figure out why you want to do it. To figure out how you're going to get it done. And then also to be intentional and active on getting it done.
Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been our Monday night conversation. Anastacia and I were challenging you to pick up this challenge or this position of becoming an effective living ambassador. Committed to living your life with the understanding that you can have it all. Faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. And you said, Coach Miller, I'm not doing that well in 1 or 2 of those areas. Well, that's what your mission should be this week.
Yeah.
How can I improve? Go ahead and then tell yourself, oh, I'm glad they mentioned I have 3 out of 5. I'm going to work on improving in the other 2 areas. Oh, I have a pretty good base on all 5, but they're not that high. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those 5 to the next level. That's all we're doing. The goal is not to judge you. The goal is to challenge you to take yourself to the next level. Anastacia, it's always a joy. It's always a delight. This has been a blast. And you'll be joining us second Monday of the month, every month.
Yeah.
We're so glad that you're going to be doing that. Hey, listen, hats off to you and all of the endeavors that you are participating in. You're a rock star in the family. We love you. You're a rock star on your job. You're a rock star in the organizations that you're a part of. You are amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great week. We want to challenge you to take on the position of becoming an effective living ambassador. Learn more by reading my book and committing to the message so that your life can be more fulfilled. Have a great week, everybody. God bless you. Bye, Anastacia.